What's up, guys? For today's build, we've got the Rook build for Arc Titan, because you're going to be running through just about everything just like the Rook in chess. We're going to start off with our aspects. We're going to be running Juggernaut so that we're getting that frontal shield when sprinting to block damage, making it easier for us to close the gap for our next shoulder charge, which is what this build will be relying heavily on. And then while we are amplified, the shield also blocks significantly more damage before it will break on us. And then we're going to be running Knockout, so that critically wounding a target or breaking their shield infuses our melee, so that one, it will trigger melee Wellmaker, and also it will increase our melee range and damage for a short time, which is really nice. And then defeating targets with our melee attack will also start health regen and make us amplified, which again will be making our shield much more strong. And then I like to run Stormnade. It's just really powerful and has a very short cooldown, so it's just a nice little thing to have in our toolkit. And of course, we have to be running Seismic Strike for shoulder charge, because that is what this build relies on. Your jump can be whatever you want. Strafe is obviously the best, I will always say it. And Thruster, just because you're not really going to be staying still, so I think the barricades are basically useless, so Thruster it is. And then we're going to be running Fist of Havoc, just because I think it's a lot more fun to run around being a absolute juggernaut, slamming into everything. And then our fragments are going to be Spark of Resistance, so that we're getting that extra strength and a little bit of extra resistance whenever we are surrounded, which is almost always, since we're meleeing everything around us in true Titan fashion. And then Spark of Feedback, so that taking melee damage on the off chance that we will, because we take out giant groups in one blow, but on the off chance we do take melee damage, it will then increase our melee damage even more. And we're getting that nice little bump in resistance, so that's also really nice. And then finally, our last fragment is going to be Spark of Amplitude, because we're almost always going to be amplified, because it's just super easy with this build. And with every rapid kill that we make, or kills we make while amplified, we get an Orb of Power. So that's basically every shoulder charge that we do into a big group. For the exotics we're going to be running, we're going to have Monte Carlo, just to make sure that we always have our melee and kind of top off our melee on the off chance that we are just right at the edge, but we don't want to wait anymore. And then Peregrine Greaves, so that we get bonus damage on airborne shoulder charges, which is absolutely insane how much damage it adds. Starting off with our helmet mod, though, we're going to be running a Arc Elemental Affinity, so that we have Well of Ions. So every time we pick up a Arc Elemental Well, we get extra melee damage on top of all of the other things we are getting extra melee damage from. And then, of course, Hands On, because since we're going to be shoulder charging everything, why not get our Fist of Havoc even faster? And then for our gauntlets, we're going to be running the elemental affinity. Doesn't really matter because all of these are neutral, but melee Wellmaker, so that our melee kills again are generating those wells for us. And then, because I wanted to make this a build that you just literally will destroy everything in your path, we're going to be running Anti-Barrier for barrier champions. That will cover Monte Carlo. And then Unstoppable Shotgun, so that our shotguns can take care of those champions. And then we will also have a Overload mod later on. On our chest piece, we're going to be running Arc Elemental Affinity with Heavy Handed, so that while we are charged with light, we get half of our melee back. And also, because we are running a Arc Resist mod, we get to take advantage of, while surrounded by multiple combatants, defeating a combatant with a shotgun, because we'll be using a shotgun, will add ammo for that weapon to our reserves, which is just a really nice bonus. And then on Peregrine Greaves, or our boots, I like to run Arc Elemental Affinity because, as I said, we're going to be amplified, generating a ton of orbs, and that will reduce our melee cooldown even faster. And then Absolution, so that we get a little bit of extra ability for all of our other abilities whenever we pick up an Orb of Power. And then this is very important. We're going to be running Elemental Charge, so when we pick up those wells, we become charged with light for heavy-handed. And then finally, for our armor mods and stuff, we're going to have Arc Elemental Affinity with Well of Striking. So picking up a Arc Elemental Well grants us additional melee energy. And then Surge Detonators, so that our Arc Grenades will finish off our trifecta and give us the final stun against Overload champions. And then Thunderous Retort, because we will always be amplified. We can cast our super whenever we have it and get that extra arc super damage boost, and it is amazing. Let me just tell you, I got to mess with it more recently today, and I absolutely love it. And for our weapons, you can really run any arc shotgun, but personally I like the Matador 64 with Perpetual Motion and Golden Tricorn, just because it really feeds into this build very easily. And then for our heavy, I do not believe that you can get this anymore, but for those that have it, the Hothead with Vorpal is just a really easy way to take care of anything long range that will have high health. But you're really going to take out everything with your shoulder charge, so your weapons don't matter that much. As far as your mods, or your stats, you're going to want to heavily spec into strength, and then a bit of resilience and recovery, and then after that, it's basically whatever you want to do. But strength is the main thing in this build. And then, because some people always like to ask, we have my Destiny for this build to make my Titan look very much like how I'd imagine a Rook in chess would look. And so we've got the Knightly Noir helmet, gauntlets, and chest piece, and then Light of the Great Prism for my mark, and all with the Vex Chrome precursor shader. So for a little quick demonstration, you just can run into a lost sector. This build is meant for a little bit higher end content, so everything will die really quickly here. But now that we are charged with light, we will get our melee back much sooner. Go ahead and wait just a split second so that I can show you just how fast you get your melee back. Alright. There we go, generate an orb of light. Already almost have our melee back. There it is. Keep on just going through everything. You will have absolutely no problem taking out just about every enemy in your path and be an ad clear machine. So that is today's build for the Arc Titan. This was the Rook build. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.